Hey folks, welcome back from our Wandering Village, and Strafon just dropped a new villager update for the Wandering Village, and when I mean just dropped, I mean January 18th, and this video is probably coming out sometime, early February or something. This is the channel that you want to go to get the latest news on all your favorite video games. I am being sarcastic, of course, but you know what? Better late than never, and this is a substantial update that you should know about, okay? Because I think that you should. I think it's time. I think it's time you know about it. If you don't know about it already, be prepared to know something of it.
What?
But in any case, welcome, hi, hello there. So just a heads up, the main focus of this video will just be about balancing the UI, the villager update as a whole, and the new buildings that they've added. If you're curious about the bug fixes and the visual improvements, I'll go ahead and link their full patch notes so you can get a much more granular look at what has been involved in the update. But generally speaking, the main focus I really want to talk about is the villager update and what has been updated to the villagers. And I've said that way too much, but you know what? It's what's been updated. There also seems to be a bit more intentionality in the design in terms of better visualizing what is actually happening in your colony. For the most part, and this is just, my own personal experience as I've gone through playthroughs, what I've encountered is that villagers are your primary bottleneck. And a lot of it has to deal with fulfilling or filling a host of different jobs that you want them to do. And so sometimes you may overcompensate, or at least I overcompensate, in a lot of areas.
Shut up. That's something you say. Shut up.
In previous playthroughs, at least for me, I would just villager spam. I'd get as much villagers as possible, even if it was at the detriment of my food capacity. My reasoning then was to overcompensate for productivity, which sometimes drops below 100. But now that productivity doesn't drop below 100 for villagers, their output, what they create, has become more consistent. Also, with the increase of villager nomads in the world, gaining villagers even on veteran mode is no longer as detrimental as before. The villager aspect has now transitioned to be more of managing your food supply and happiness. When both are met, you get a massive boost in the productivity scale. Now we have a new nifty productivity bar with clear indicators with how happiness directly impacts productivity. And additionally, there's a greater sense of user impact and consequences should villagers be unhappy. Villagers will now leave when they are unhappy. So I do like that there's more variety in terms of how your villagers will behave in the village. God, I feel like I just repeat certain words. For the lack of better terms, your villagers feel much more alive, and they feel like they're doing much more than they did before. Another added feature is that villagers' demands will increase over time, so villagers will now have an active role in determining how successful your colony will be. Again, this is really, really good in the sense that the primary focus, at least as this game has been developing, has been focused on Onbu and how to keep Onbu happy. But now I like that there's a shift that's happening toward villagers and how to keep the villagers happy, because it does seem that there needs to be this sort of equilibrium between villagers and Onbu, how to keep both parties happy and how to keep both parties successful and surviving in this post-apocalyptic world. There is a new food management window that lets you control which types of food your villagers are allowed to eat. We'll get more into that when we get the game going. There's a new gourmet kitchen, which allows you to produce high-quality food to make your villagers happy. You can now hold festivals with a community plaza and a town square, giving you a temporary boost to happiness. Again, there's this emphasis on managing happiness for your villagers. There are also new buildings, the gourmet kitchen, as we mentioned, but the flop house, which provides a lot of housing for villagers. But you sacrifice quality and poison resistance. A boarding house, which is an improved version of the flop house, and a town square, which allows you to have the festivals. With all that said, let's go ahead and get a game going. I'm starting this on veteran mode just so you know about the difficulty, and already you can kind of see that, ooh, there's wanderers there. You can kind of see our new UI that we have here. I think there's a lot of work done to get at a glance kind of information. Hold on, the music is kind of loud. Let me just bring it down a bit. We love the music. We love the music, but it is a little too intense right now. And I just like the way it looks. And if you can tell, Well, maybe as I unpause the game, these little nodes here, they actually move. Like, there's some movement. You can see the time of day pass in this thing. You can see movement here on Villager Happiness, and you can click it, and it automatically gives you the information that you're looking for here, like food quality, housing quality, homelessness. Like, it's just, I think it's really a really neat design and a great improvement on the UI that was desperately needing some rework. As far as some visualizations, you know, like some of the things that really stand out to me in terms of visual like improvement is like you can see here where the soil meets the grass, it's like a lot more blended in together, so it feels a lot more part of the world. So I just really like the way it looks now. It looks like it's all smoothened out. You can see all your resources through this button here, and then you can get building resources, so all resources that allow you to build structures. And then you have raw resources, which I think is really cool because now you can tell between raw and refined. During my playthrough, I've only really needed like to see all the resources still, but yeah, it's really nice to see it divvied up in this way. Now, if you look through here, it says your villagers are full of hope. Their happiness is increased by 8. Their bonus will decrease by 1, or in about 22 hours. And so now it's going to be like this ever kind of fight to keep happiness up. And what I like too is that you can see homelessness here, which I think is a really nice visual way of telling who's homeless and how the benefits work in your favor. Before you could just, I mean, it would tell you the numbers, but it was more of just showing you the numbers rather than giving you like this nice bar to help you better visualize what is happening in the colony. And I can't stress like how much like easier it is to tell what's happening in your colony when you can just see it through colors and graphs and stuff like that, rather than just like numbers on a stat sheet. Also, if you go down here, this is where food management is, and just like the worker management tab, this will pause the game behind you, and you can see like how to direct what people can eat and stuff like that. And I think this will really come into play when you have like a city and a village kind of outpost kind of thing, and you want people to eat specific foods at specific times. This food management, that's where I think it'll really shine. Also, I wanted to point this out. This bold line right here is so cool. Like, it's so helpful to better visualize like where things end. I think it's just a really nice touch. What I wish it would do though is that I wish it could stay. Like, there's a way to like have it stay open as you place another building, because I like to measure out the distance, but it's hard to do that when it closes out on you, the graph does. So I think that would be a cool next step, because I do like the bold lines here. It's really helpful to get a better idea of where things end. And again, I'm doing that useless thing where I draw a road right in the middle of the farm, which does literally nothing except just taking space away from your farming, but that's just the way I like to do things. So quick update, now that I've built more homes, you can visually see that I have 125% productivity, which I think is pretty cool. We have a total happiness of 7 right now, and as homelessness decreases, that'll only go up. Now, I just want to point this out as well, we also have a visual gauge of like temperature and humidity, as well as Ombu toxicity. Now, I know for like a clear and more minimalist approach, we have like only 2 colors happening in the UI, but I wonder if having color here would be helpful as well. I know it would be helpful for me at a glance, but I also know that like aesthetically it's a lot more uniform to have this like all one color, right, in terms of the font. In terms of like, I guess what I'm specifically talking about, like if it was hot, the color here would be red, or if it was humid, the color here would be just a different color just to better see it. But I mean, having notches, I guess, is also a good visual indicator. I don't know. Tell me what you think, because I think I'd like to see color here, but I'm not too sure. Oh yeah, and mushrooms. Mushrooms now grow in patches instead of individually. Like before you would find them, like one in like one area and stuff like that. Now they grow in patches, which I think is pretty cool. I guess it makes the, getting mushrooms easier on Ombu, but to be fair, like it just never felt like I gathered enough mushrooms on Ombu's back, and so I just never bothered. But now it just feels like there's a reason to actually harvest mushrooms on top of Ombu. And as you can see, the icons here are moving. The little windmill is going. I don't know, it's just like a nice insert. It's really cool to watch. And then of course you can actually see your research going on right now. Our current research is kitchen. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and show you the new research too. So here's the flop house. It's a low quality housing for up to 30 villagers. Inhabitants are much more susceptible to poison due to the cramped conditions. Now, I think this is because you're going to get a lot more villagers a lot more frequently, so, you know, a flop house might be a necessity for you in terms of spacing, unless you're going to build like a whole bunch of tents, right? It's like a tent, it's like 5 wood versus 25 and 25 stone here, but that susceptibility to poison and cramped conditions, which I imagine is unhappiness, that's a huge trade-off. So I don't know. Like, it'd be interesting to see like how frequent you get new villagers, right? What else do we have here? Here's the boarding house. Oops. The boarding house is a, let me just move the mouse here. The boarding house, adequate housing for up to 30 villagers. Inhabitants are slightly more susceptible to poison due to the cramped conditions, so just a better version of the flop house. And some of the illustrations that I've noticed for the technology seem to have gotten a facelift as well, like the cottage, the granary, the artistry. Learn how to place large decorations. Oh, cool. They have sculpting here. So I think this is the, yeah, so decorations, again, now play much more of a role here. Let's see what we have here. We have food stand. Yeah, this looks different. I still haven't figured out how to use the food stand. If you know how to use it, please do let me know in the comments. I couldn't get it to work. Still don't know how to. Town square. Now, this is where you can actually have festivals. Raises happiness by 1 while fully staffed and allows you to temporarily boost happiness by holding events. So this is going to be cool. Upgrades to a community plaza, which raises happiness by 2 while fully staffed and allows you to hold festivals, which can have a variety of effects. Really cool stuff there. Now we have a gourmet kitchen now, which makes various kinds of meals for the most discerning villagers. So again, there's a lot more emphasis on villager happiness and villager management. Oh, look at the cloud here. This looks better too, right? The rain cloud, it looks much more detailed. So it looks like we're getting some food variety despite only having one source of food, which are berries. But it's cool to see that it counts for something. Now, what I think would be tops, like real tops, is that the carpenter also cut wood, you know? Or the stone cutter also cut stone, like went out and mined. I think that would be cool. Right now they only do the one job, but I think it'd be nice. Now, I know that might be a little gamey, a little cheaty, because you're like, no, you need to have the villagers that are free in your workers post or just free in general to do the cutting and the mining, but I don't know. I always feels like whenever like your villagers are idle and they just feel like they could consciously be cutting, like it just makes sense that they would cut wood if they're not doing anything. The carpenter, that is, or even the stone cutter. I don't know. I know they're two different crafts and what have you, but I don't know. It just feels like it makes sense. It feels like it makes sense. And there they go. That's so cool. They're gliding out of here. And now here's my question, okay? Like, I understand standing on the scavenger post and just gliding down into the world, but like, how do they glide back up to Anbu? Like, do they have like jet propellers? Whoa, look at them. Oh, cool. Love to see it. What happens in the main world? You don't see them go there. Okay. I think that'd be a nice touch if you actually saw them like travel the distance, so you can actually get a better visual idea of like how far they are and stuff like that. I think that'd be kind of cool. What? Villager happiness. Uh-oh. Villagers are displeased. Their happiness remains... Oh, because they're hungry. Because they're starving, I think. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Love that animation. But are they all starving? Like, when are we running out of food? What's the prediction of running out of food? More than 1 day and 10 hours. 3 villagers will leave your village. Yikes. I think I have to ease up with food management and allow them to eat raw berries. I think that's the case. Ah, it's like a bar. You see, it's like increasing. I mean, I know we saw this last time in our other playthrough, but it's kind of cool to see it. Ah, and it does stack. Okay. Okay, so also let's build the town square, which takes 25 stone. Yikes. Well, let's build it while we have the stone. I mean, we're all doing this for science anyway. We're going to put it right... Where's our town square? Town square should be at the center normally, right? But you know what? We're going to put it like right here maybe? Yeah, let's put it right here. You know, I'm not going to lie. It's a lot of fun trying to increase the productivity bar now that I have a better visual sense of like how it's going up and where's working where. It's really interesting to be like, oh man, I just need the productivity just to go another notch higher. It's a nice like touch. I don't know. It's like a fun new mini game within the game. Oh, now it's built. Okay, cool. So we have the town square, and it needs people. I just want all 3 people in here. I want all 3. Fill it with 3. Okay, cool. Now, what does that mean? This glowed up, so town square. People love to relax and share stories in the town square. Happiness is increased by 1, fully staffed. Ah, cool. Cool. So, where does that go? Oh, from right here, town square, fully staffed. Oh, nice. So it doesn't look like there's an animation for this just yet, but that's cool. Cool. Rite of Harmony, a small festival to express gratitude towards Ambu for keeping the village safe. Dried herbs are burnt and fill the air with pleasant scent, increases happiness for 2 days. Whoa. Let's do it. I kind of want to see what it's going to look like. Okay, there we go. And then what? What happens? 100%. We did it. Ah, there's a little scent coming out from there. A small festival to express gratitude that we read before. Dried herbs are burnt. 1 day, well, technically just under 2 days is this bonus of happiness. Cool. I wish it gave like a herbal remedy. Like, I wish it cured us with a bit of like toxin and stuff. But I guess happiness is fine. Productivity is fine, I guess. Again, it's all about getting that another notch for productivity, but that's cool. Okay, cool. Got a little thing happening right here. There's a lot more things to consider when starting a new playthrough now. Villagers take a lot more active role, and now there's like this balance to really like increase productivity as well as keeping villagers happy, and I think that's a really welcome change. And having an influx of villagers now gives us more of an opportunity to be flexible of how we want to design our towns and our cities. I kind of do miss the idea of, you know, really scrounging for parts and scrounging with whatever villagers you have to make do with whatever job roles. But I think the new management system for villagers is just too much of a good idea to pass up. And having more villagers does give you that availability to play around with different strategies and also give you more ways to develop your town, because ultimately villagers are still kind of the bottleneck. It's the wandering village. Anbu wanders in your villager's village per se, but having more villagers just allows you to try out more of a variety of things, and increasing that I think is a good start. I think, you know, maybe decreasing roles, you know, like decreasing the amount of roles it takes to work some of these buildings would have been another possibility. But I mean, once you've already set in stone like 3 workers, you know, at a kitchen, maybe balancing becomes funky at that point. Increasing the amount of villagers you get at the start, even on veteran mode, does make the game feel a lot faster, a lot more fast paced. But yeah, that will pretty much wrap up this Let's Try of the Villager update. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, please feel free to give yourself words of positive affirmation, pat yourself on the back, and make sure to get a good night's rest. So, hope to see you in the next video, whatever that video may be. So until then, I will see you then. Bye for now.